What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out Hero's Hour. I haven't looked at this game since actually a week or two before I got hacked, so it's been like a really long time since we dove into Hero's Hour. So it's time for a checkup. Hero's Hour is, in my opinion, one of the most playable versions of Might and Magic, sort of spin-offs, I guess. This is a really good game where it combines auto battle mechanics with Heroes of Might and Magic gameplay. You can cast spells onto the battlefield, but all of your units act autonomously. And since the last time we played, it's had a DLC, it's had a number of patches, and most recently, like a week ago, they had a complete rebalance patch where they redid the way that all the heroes work, which makes the game tremendously more replayable when it was already a really replayable game and every faction kind of had their own thing going on. So we're going to dive on in today. We're going to take a look at it for 30 minutes. If you want to get the game for yourself, it is fully released. They're adding more content to it still all these years later. You can find that link down below. You can also find a link to my Twitch stream and my Discord. I streamed this game for 3 or 4 hours a few days ago before this upload, and the VOD will still be up over there just in case you wanted to check it out. But let's go ahead and dive on in. So on starting a new game, you've got to pick yourself a map. In general, I do wish, so like there's different sea maps and there's land maps. I would highly recommend playing the land maps. They seem to work a lot better. The sea maps seem to really jam up the AI pathfinding from time to time, and it's caused a couple of my games to have to be restarted. And so I usually don't play sea maps in this game if I can help it. I usually try to have some kind of larger Pangea map that we all fight on. And so we've got 4 players set out to conquer the lands. There's an unclaimed area in the middle of all 4, and 2 islands reachable via portals or the boat. Sure. We're the guy in the top left-hand corner. These are all the factions that play in the game. They all have their own buildings. They all have their own units. All of their units do different things. A lot of them have an acumen for certain kinds of spells, so certain guys will face, necromancy. They'll field necromancy. They'll field fire. They'll field water. They'll field arcane. They'll field wind. It kind of depends, but everybody can get everything as you progress through the game through random level ups and stuff like that. In the case of today's game, I don't know, dude. I'm feeling creator deep down in my bones, so let's hail to the Horde and we'll play as them. I haven't played them in a really long time, so I don't know how this is going to go. While I was brushing up for this video, I played Decay, I played as Lament, I think I played as Earthen, and then I've played most of the other factions throughout my time owning the game in other patches, but the Horde is probably my favorite. One of the new things that they've done is that a lot of these guys have been diversified and they do different things now at the beginning. You can be either a liberator or you can be a flesh shaper. And so I think the flesh shaper, what they do is they can convert their units into other units after combat, if I remember correctly. Whereas the liberators, it looks like they have might, which gives you 0 mana spells that you can play around with during combat. That actually sounds pretty fun. And so I'll probably, I find the mages to actually be like absolute mayhem in this game to play once you get them leveled up. But since we probably won't have time to level people up today, we'll probably just start out. We've only got 30 minutes. I'm going to leave everybody else on random, and into the game we go. And it's going to generate a map for us with tons of points of interest and things to explore and things to sack and raid. But here's our little goblin army. We've only started out with what looks like 4 wolf riders and 13 little Shiva bitch guys. All right, let's go into town, and we will go ahead and start off our army building. We can only get 15 more goblins for right now. I'm going to take all 15 of those. I don't think it's going to be enough for us to really do much. But one thing you want to make sure you're doing in the beginning of the game every single day is upgrading your army. We're going to go all goblins this time around, so we're going to purchase a new building for the Great Rock. We can either get harpies, which are good for flying. If we were on a water map, I actually recommend fielding a lot of flying units, because units can fall off the boats during naval combat and drown in the water and they just die instantly. Flying units don't have that problem, and so if I'm playing a sea map, I get a lot of flying units, but we're playing a land map, so let's go ahead and we'll get the Goblin Guerrilla Rifleman, I guess sounds really good. We'll add those to our overall docket, and the little check mark down here is going to let you know you've already built for the week. It does add a new little building in here whenever you build one, and your town will get more awesome as time goes along, and you'll unlock new things. Every faction does have their own town graphic, their own set of buildings, their own set of unlocks and upgrades and viable play styles. But in the early game, what we really want to do out here is we just want to start exploring and looking around and seeing what we can find for early game bonuses. We found a treasure chest. We can get 1,200 gold or 5 mercury. I'll probably take the gold for right now because that's going to be a much worse stopgap for us as we start the game off. And the whole thing is turn-based. The turns go pretty fast when the enemy are not inside line of sight. They slow down a little bit when the enemy is in line of sight, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem. We've got a Splinter of Power over here, which permanently increases the stats of our hero. You can see his stat sheet right here. You've got everything from attack, defense. You've got spell power, which makes your spells hit harder. You've got knowledge, which raises up your mana. You've got luck, which is for crit. Morale, which is for keeping your units from routing in combat. Command dictates the amount of units that you can have on the battlefield at any given time. I think it's actually 100 times that number. And every unit in this game kind of has a power rating if you mouse over them that will add up into sort of like a Warhammer 40k style army that you're either allowed to field or not allowed to field against the enemy. In the early turns, we're probably not going to be taking a whole lot of fights. We're just going to be building buildings, developing our revenue, and sort of making a little bit of progress out here. We can get shamans over here, or we can get centaurs and raiders. I'll probably get the centaurs and raiders for the moment, and I'll probably pick up the raiders right here because I already picked up the riflemen, so we kind of have ranged going on already. But let's take a look around the realm and see if we can swipe any free goodies before the inevitable conflict arises. We have an impossible fight right there, so we probably don't want to take that. We have a weaponsmith. At the weaponsmith, we can upgrade tier 1 units into tier 2 elite units. But it looks like there's nothing else down here, so let's just knock out our building real fast, and then we'll head back up to the north. I'm going to be focusing on being able to field a lot of guys in the early game. I do think it'd be a good idea to maybe pick up... Let's get the shaman first, and we'll get her crafted, but we are out of crystals for the moment, which is going to kind of hurt our city development. As we go through the game, we are going to capture things like crystal mines, we're going to capture things like gold mines, lumber mills, things of that nature. It looks like there's a neutral army in our territory over here. We've got a moderate fight right there. What spells do I have available? I only have 10 mana, but I have free spells. What does my spell book do for me? Your hero charges in a specified direction. Okay, so we got like a minor air spell to start out with. A little bit of fart magic to have a good time with. Let's go pick up our units over here, and I will try to knock over some of these buildings so that we can start developing out our economy. So having picked up a few more units in town on the next turn, I think it's time for us to whack somebody. So let's go get this mine or mill or whatever it is, and this is how combat works. You're going to arrange your units. The game auto battles, so you're going to want to put kind of like range guys in the back. You're going to want to put melee guys in the front, and we're going to go ahead and start off the fight. And as you can see, each one of those little unit cards that we put out there actually represents a whole bunch of units that then expand when you go into combat. We only have active control of the spells that we cast in combat, but this seems to be going pretty well for us right now. We've only lost one wolf rider and one little knife okay, 5 little knife goblins. Unfortunately, 6 little knife goblins. You can see the butcher's bill on either side right there, but we did win at the end of the day, which is really good for us. That's going to level up our hero. Every single hero has their own skill tree that will have different things inside of it to excite and entertain. In our case, we have hegemony. I can spend sulfur to make marauders. I can have oligarchy, which makes my units better, but it lowers the amount of them that I can field. I've got the Midas touch, which makes everybody I hit turn into gold, which then gets added on into our gold counter. We also have bloodlust whenever our allied units die. So I think that's a good one to pick up nice and early. And some of these things will be passives. Some of these things will give you access to new magic schools. They'll boost up certain types of units. It's up to you what you want to go get. And now we have an ore quarry, which is going to be stamping out ore for us. At the beginning of each week, all of the units will replenish in town, and we'll be able to buy more of them. We've got another easy fight on this side for what looks like a sawmill. So I feel pretty excited about picking that up. There's not much that I can build for right now with a lack of crystals inside my inventory, so we'll just let the money pile up for a little bit, and we won't press ourselves too hard with the acquisition of new buildings. It looks like we've actually got a number of neutral armies up inside of our territory. Not great. We're going to have to do something about that before too long, but they are much, much stronger than we are. And they shouldn't aggro all by their lonesome. It shouldn't be an issue. And so we'll kind of just arrange guys like so. We'll put them into combat kind of in a secondary position. We're going to do an early charge right there for as much damage as we can get out to all the little turnip monsters. If your hero dies, you don't lose the game, by the way. He's going to run off to the side of the map, and he's going to have 0 HP, and he's going to start regenerating. The regeneration will bring him back up to like half health, and then he'll dive back into combat. And so we've got ourselves a secondary victory right there. Another 1,200 XP, and we've picked up a whole bunch of building materials and a sawmill that is now under our control. While we wait for the week to roll over, I'm just going to kind of like explore and see if there's anything around here that I'm like amped about getting to. On the edges of your empire, there's going to be enemy gates. If you capture these gates, they give you a garrison that the enemy has to fight their way through and sort of like lose some units in order to get to you. So it can be pretty useful to reinforce those over there. There's a moderate fight right there, but I might just wait until we get more units on the next week before we start sweeping and clearing. Most of our units seem to be pretty fragile, but they seem to hit pretty hard. My general experience of that is that armies that kind of have this way of playing, you've got to come up with supplementary things to make it work a little bit better. And so let's go ahead and turn that on over. I do have a lot of money right now. I may boost up my crystals so that we can get the town built, because we don't want to get behind on the tech tree compared to all of our neighbors, and I'm really not building a lot of stuff right now. But let's pick up some new units. We've got 4 more of those guys right there. We've got more goblins. We've got more gunners. We've got more riders. We don't have the crystals for her, but we can build the marketplace in order to bang that out. And then we can go to the marketplace, and let's say we buy 5 crystals so that we can get a few more shaman. There we go. And so now we've got an army that's actually prepped to start making moves on the map. Let's knock this one out. The game does, when it senses a power disparity, it will let you auto-resolve. The auto-resolve is good in this game. You'll lose a couple weaker units when you auto-resolve, but it's usually not that bad. Let's take the free level up over here. I'm going to upgrade my combat units' HP and also their attack by another 15%. So that we can maybe eyeball some other spots down here. There's heroes' graves down there. Your character does have equipment. The equipment is consequential in this game. You definitely want to roll into combat with a fully equipped hero. It can make a big difference in your success rates. And now begins the process of us kind of clearing out our territory and making this all work. Maybe you guys go fight up there with the golems. You guys come down on here and fight with these little guys right here. These are like little fishmen. I don't know ultimately how good they are, but we seem to be absolutely trouncing them, so I'm guessing they're not as good as I am. Up here, we could probably use a fast charge since it's free, and the battle is over without any losses. That's really good stuff. Let's pick up the money right there, and then we'll go to the Lost Hero's grave. We can get a Ring of Power. That will boost up our spell power. Most items in this game are a part of a Diablo-style set that will give you some kind of cool bonus if you have them all equipped. The Ring of Power is not necessarily for our character, but since we don't have anything else, I'll take it. We also have the Bracers of Kismet, and so we've got a bunch of spellcaster gear on our character right now that's kind of making us dope at casting spells, even though we're not really a spellcaster hero. We have the stats of a spellcaster hero now. We've also got some boots over there, which are part of that Kismet set, and so we'll probably go snag those on the next turn. With the 2 crystals that I have available, I do want to build the infirmary, and so our town is upgraded to a township. We can pick between a special building. War Academy makes our heroes hit harder. We can get the Grand Bazaar, which makes all of the things we buy on the market cheaper. Or we can get a Goblin Expert, which makes us generate a lot more goblins. I'm going to take the +2 to attack for us and all heroes in the future. We also want to make sure to spend a little bit more gold over here to get some more crystals, because we're kind of trickling down on crystals. And it's becoming a stopgap for our economy, which we haven't gotten around to, like, filling out yet. But there's a crystal mine down there. It's guarded by a challenging army of dwarves. Dwarves are a big threat in this game. They have very expensive units that are very good in combat, and they have a lot of things that sort of replenish their numbers and make them kind of a headache. Let's have these guys lead the charge back here because they're summons. We get them for free, so, like, who cares if they die? We get one per day, so, like, it's an easy swap out. Let's go ahead and charge straight on into the enemy lines to do a bunch of damage. We have taken a little bit of scuffing on the closing right there, but we're going to close the deal. We've got a couple of enemies that we've turned into gold along the way, which should add to the amount of money we earn at the end of the fight. 500 bucks right there, and also a level up. Let's go ahead and get Melee Combat 3, since we seem to be a melee combat-focused army. We'll pick up the Boots of Kismet. We have a moderate challenge over there. What is that building right there? A dying soldier lies by the banner. If you listen to their story, you get 1 permanent morale. Okay. Let's go get that easy fight up there while we wait for the week to roll over. We do now have an easy Newt fight on the way. Neutrals drop a whole bunch of good stuff, and so we kind of want to come fight these guys if we can. Let's have them back a little bit further so that they don't make base contact quite as quickly. And as soon as we get a good position for our charge over here, light it off. Because remember, a lot of the people we hit turn into gold, and gold is valuable to us because we're kind of like on a trade economy right now, where we're like trading for the things that we need in order to develop on out. So the more frogs we turn into gold, the more units we convert into gold, the better off we're going to be here. They're routing and running away, so that's easy peasy. 3,500 XP right there. Another level up. We can get Swordsmith. We can get Leadership. We can get Fortune. I will probably go... What does Might do? Give me another spell. We get Freedom Call at rank 2 and Earthquake at rank 3. And look at all these goodies they drop. We've got a Champion's Cape, which makes our units faster. We've got a necklace that's 1 morale. We've got a treasure chest over here, which I will probably take the gold out of. And this guy has the Titan gloves, which are pretty good. I kind of want those more than what I have right now. So let's swap in the Titan's gloves real fast. And then we'll probably sell the Kismet bracers later on. Our attack is at 12 right now, which is really, really good. And then we'll try to bury 2 fights today, I think, in order to get things moved along. I do need to build another building. This one over here gives me trolls. I do think that I'm going to need a frontline unit that's pretty badass. So I'll go ahead and swap in for trolls. If you don't like the selection you made, you can swap it out at any time if you want to by hitting this little button right here. It's not permanent. And so if you find that you really dislike a unit, get rid of it and swap it out for the other one. We got an easy auto battle right there with very minimal losses, a little bit more cash for the stash. We've got the Boots of Tomorrow, which allow us to move around the map a little bit quicker. I don't know if I'll equip those. I guess we'll see. I haven't made up my mind just yet whether or not that's something that I want. We also have a Jar of Pandora over on this side. We've got the Kilt of Kismet, which is actually quite good, and I've been wearing no pants this entire time. And so it may be time to stop the HR lawsuits and kind of just gird the old loins. We definitely need more crystals right there. We have a sulfur mine on this side that we can take on the next turn, but we're not going to do it right now. I'd like to make my way down to the Guild of Mages so that the next time we visit the city, we get some new spells. We don't know what we're going to get, but we'll get something that's in alignment with our character and like the elemental affinity of our army. And given what I've seen so far, it may be something that's actually quite fortifying. And so we'll see how that plays out. Let's wipe this little army right here. That looks fine to me. They do have a lot of elementals, which is a little bit worrying. What does Freedom Call do? You trigger high morale for all nearby allies. Okay, we'll wait for everybody to kind of, like, condense. I'm going to charge into their back lines real fast and just kind of, like, cause some mayhem for their gunners and whatnot, because they do have little ranged guys back here, and little ranged guys can do a lot of damage if you leave them unsupervised. However, our Goblin Warband is getting a little bit thinner right now. With each one of these victories, our army gets a little bit smaller. I think I'll probably take... Let's go Swordsmith, I guess. We seem to be a pretty offensively focused army. We've got our sulfur supply secure. We've got a treasure chest over here. That'll give us 3 mercury or 1,000 XP. I'll take the mercury because we don't have a mercury mine yet. We're a little bit low in that regard. And then I think I'll probably head back to town if there's nothing that I can craft here. The Banner of Champions allows our guys to upgrade through combat, which sounds pretty spicy considering we don't have a lot of the Tier 2 stuff yet. And so that sounds good to me. I'll take that. Neutral pirate armies are kind of like crawling around and making me feel nervous. Let's go ahead and we'll hit that spot right there. It'll give us some money and some movement points back. We'll move down this way. We're going to need to get our cash up before we recruit more units, I think. Yeah, it's going to get expensive to recruit out here. We also kind of want to, like, upgrade some of these guys, too. I guess build what we can build for right now to make the army more stacked, and if we don't have money for this turn, we don't have money for this turn. We really need to get this area conquered and consolidated and under our reign before our neighbors come knocking, and they will absolutely come knocking probably around week 4 or so. And so we're on a little bit of a timetable. Give me all my units in my army. Our power level is looking much better right now. I am happier with our power level. We also have trolls added on into the army who are apparently ranged. I had actually thought that the trolls were melee. What was the other option? Bloodletters. We may want to swap over to the bloodletters. I think we're a little bit ranged heavy right now. And we learned all the spells that we can possibly learn over there. With this obelisk, we can learn where the treasure is, and it's going to spread little obelisk fragments all over our realm. If we collect them all, we'll get a clearer picture as to where we need to go in order to unlock certain things. If we conquer that place, we get free units every week. That might be nice. We also have a crystal mine down here, which would round out our economy, and we have been pretty poor on crystals lately, so maybe I'll head that way to make it happen. I want to see what spells we got, too, so even if it wants to auto-resolve, I might fight this one by hand, just to see what cool spells we have available. Let's get on down in here, and let's jerk some beards. Alright, so put you guys in front, put you guys in back. I'll be right here. Troll, you hang out right there. Gunners, you kind of hang out right there, and let's start this thing. So it looks like we have flame jugglers, and we have misfortune. We're going to want to summon flame jugglers back there just to occupy them. A little bit of a global cooldown before we can cast again. I'm going to go in on a big charge right there and just deal damage to whatever I can deal damage to. We also have, what is this? Subcutaneous. Affects friendly units. When they die, they release spiders from their insides. Number and type of spiders depends on the unit. Permanent units create permanent spiders that stay after battle. That sounds sick. Let's go ahead and put that on the goblin guys down here in case any of them die, so at least we're replacing our goblins with a couple of spiders when they go down. Hey, and it looks like they upgraded to Tier 2 guys. We now have Voodoos and Grenadiers. Nice. So I guess when they score a kill, they level up now, which is really, really good. All right, we got all the goodies right there. I don't know what my next target is. I do want to talk to the dying hero. Let's wait it out, though. We're a little bit cash poor at the moment. I need to get my money developed on up. We're getting like 1,500 or so per turn. Is he easy now? All right, let's go get him out of our territory, too, so that he's not a concern. All right, shamans. We got avalanchers over there. We got all kinds of little things going on. Let's have you guys back here. My guy will be up in the front. Sunbringers, huh? I don't know what they do. It looks like they're a healer. Okay, so put them around wherever the melees are going to be fighting at. I think I'd like to charge right through that line right there. Yeah, we converted a lot of them to gold right there, so that's really, really good. Their heroes getting bopped around a little bit. We're finishing off the rest of the Lizard Man wizards. Damn, those rock chucker guys are pretty strong, man. They're out here, like, taking scalps. You love to see it. The battle's concluded. We made $500, and we leveled up. Good stuff. Yeah, I'll probably give my archers a chance to get double damage every time they fire. That sounds pretty good. We've got the Mask of Chaos, which gives us attack and speed. We've got the Shirt of Chaos, which is nice. We'll grab all these goodies from over here to round out our economy. And then, what do I have on right now? So with the Leggings of Chaos, we'll lose some defense. With me being highly reliant on charging, I sort of feel like I maybe want to keep myself where I'm at with my equipment. But that was a good turn for us. That was not a bad turn. I think next I'd like to get the fort, which will just give us a garrison that hangs out in our city that will help out with the defense if anybody tries to backcap us or slide through or whatever else. And then we'll wipe some of these little fights over here while skipping outcomes. I'll probably add Midas Touch 2. Fireheart is really nice too because it gives all of our guys fire elemental weapons. And so I'm very tempted on that front too. Dying Hero, what you got for me? +1 morale. All right. Let's go wipe these guys off the map. We'll skip straight to the outcome. And then we've got a Ascetic Cuirass. It gives us a terror radius and 4 defense. Not awful. And we equipped it right away, so our defense is looking pretty nasty right now. Like, we're going to be a stiff target to break down in combat. Let's get another building. I will get the Wayfarers Guild, and that gives us the Palace of the Horde on the next week, which will allow us to increase our gold income per week by 1,000 gold. Getting all the way down the tree that generates gold is usually like a must-do for every single faction in the game, because the AI cheats mercilessly. They will lose a level 15 army and be back like the next day with a level 15 army. Don't fret about it too much. They're still very, very, very much beatable, so I wouldn't get too upset about it. The enemy... Normally they have one big strong push a couple weeks into the game, and after that it's more like a trickle, and they like start harassing you. And you'll have to deal with them at some point, but they do infight between each other too. They don't do annoying stuff like only focus on the player or whatever. Let's take Fortune, because I want to get down to Fireheart, so I think I'm going to max all those out so that we have flame elemental attacks. Grab all the money, get the gold mine, and our economy just got really solidified. Can I get some movement back over here? There we go. Give me a little bit of movement back so that I can get back to town a little bit quicker, because it's coming up on that time of year, or that time of the week where we need to buy some new units. We'll get the Palace of the Horde built. I believe the Palace of the Horde, I don't know where it's at. It's around here somewhere, but we built it. All right? It done been builted. And on our way back to town, doesn't look like there's any more easy picks around here without us kind of leaving the safety of our city. So I'll probably just come back over here and pick up the map fragment. And once I have the map fragment, we'll go back on in and build up our army a little bit. Speaking of building up our army, we can get a Cyclops, which is a really good idea. So let's go get the Cyclops. The downside is that we don't have the Mercury to make the guy right now, but we do have access to one of our ultimate units pretty early in the game. So that's going to be a nice come up. He should be like a big force multiplier for our battle force. Gold income from towns has been halved this week. Ooh, hurtful. Hurtful, and I don't like it. Where is our... We did not take the alchemy lab yet, so we're probably going to want to do that before too long. We can get the docks, which will let us build boats. But I'm not, like, amped about building boats right now. We can get beholder armies if we take over that place, and I feel like that's an okay investment of my time. But I guess maybe we should focus on economy first and go get the mercury mine so that we can make our big heavy unit. I didn't realize that we don't have a trickle of anything coming in right now, and so we need to have a trickle of mercury coming in too that'll build up over time, because I don't want to be spending a lot of money buying resources that I don't have as we go forward. These guys over here, we'll grab that, and we'll grab that, and then we'll come up here and smack this guy real fast. He has been smackaded. That has supplied us with a bunch more mercury for us to take a look at and roll around in our hands, so that we can go all mad as a hatter. And we can get a rock perch, which will give us rokes, which would be pretty cool. We can also get the voodoo swarmer, which gives us more voodoos, which might be nice. After all, who do you voodoo, bitch? The hospital's a good pickup, though, because we have a high turnover army where we lose a lot of guys. The hospital makes it so 50% of our units killed in combat survive, and they respawn back in town. So that'll allow us to get a little bit of a snowball effect on top of our army building as well. I hear a whole lot of movement, and it's making me nervous. Looks like that's actually... Is that literally where we're standing right now? It was right where we were standing. All right, creature speed, daily movement. We've got 4 defense and 1 morale. And a lot of money, if I'm being square with you. A whole lot of money. Let's get our army built up real fast because it is the beginning of the week, so it doesn't hurt to purchase all of these guys and just have them act as the town garrison for right now. If anybody tries to attack behind us, they'll put up a fight. Without a leader, they'll put up a worse fight. We can also get multiple heroes. You can have lots and lots of heroes in this game, so you're not locked into any playstyle. We just haven't built our second hero yet, but I'll probably try to get a wizard as our second hero because the wizards are catastrophically strong once they get a few levels under their belt. It's making us fight this one because it's a fortress. Let's just go ahead and start her up and we'll see how it goes. We've got a lot of artillery, which means that wall fights are going to play to our benefit. We're already inside. I'm going to charge across them down that way and turn as many to gold as I possibly can. I'm also going to summon some flame jugglers down here to go ahead and get the flank on this side and give them a little bit of confuselment about who they want to fight with. And it looks like we swept, and we kind of swept without losing that many guys. Very nice. What does this building do? Defeat the Harpies and Raiders. You will get their hidden resources. Once captured, it will spawn Furies every week for your cause. Nice. So we'll get Harpies. Very, very good. Let's get on down the tech tree, and I can't really afford to build anything due to our relative lack of mercury. Yeah, let's saber it up, I guess. We'll get a little bit of mercury right there just to top it on off. That's going to mean we don't have enough gold to do what we want to do. But you'll start seeing little wagons carry our new units back to town. I think once we get to next week is going to be the first time that it spawns. We can open up a gate, but I'll probably wait for the AI to do it. Because why should I lose units when they can lose units? I'm just a little bit of an opportunist like that. It looks like we can make the Lieutenant's Hall. You can get a special lieutenant. They come with their own army, which cannot be traded away. And they can only use the units in their self-replenishing army. I'll probably get the Archives of Magic for higher level skills, actually. Along the way home, I decided to participate in a little bit of griffin smacking, because it looks like there's a griffin lair over here. And griffins are a decent unit if you can get them buffed up. And so I was thinking maybe we might get free griffins for taking down the griffin lair. We also got a level up, which is also nice. And there's Fireheart 1, which gives all of our guys a little bit of fire damage that adds onto their attacks. How many things am I... I've got like a full inventory right now, right? We may want to start taking a look at what we can do here. I need a weapon still, and that's where our character is going to become an absolute monster in combat. I guess on the way home we'll also free up the dock. We might as well, too, in case we have to go to sea. What does the Maelstrom do? They suck in your hero and put them somewhere in a different area. That could be really good or really bad. It kind of depends. We're starting to get respawns. There are respawns in your territory. That's specifically so you can level up secondary commanders. They also respawn the treasure when they respawn. And so that's what the game expects you to do, is level up your heroes. Give me another big troll guy over there. I guess I'll take the Lieutenant's Hall. And I'll probably take the goblins as well. Because why not? It actually looks like, so most people you research, most of these can be upgraded once or twice for most of the other armies. It looks like for our army specifically, we only level up through combat in the Horde, which is like chest hairy as fuck. Which, in my opinion, is chest hairy as hell. I like that right there. My guys got to earn their upgrades. They just don't get them. All right, the army is looking pretty gnarly right now. We've got a really, really good army. We can't really build anything. We can't really do a whole lot here. With the lieutenant's thing, what does the lieutenant do? He's just kind of like a little mid-level guy. Huh. Well, if he could add on into battles or something, I would consider it. But for right now, let's go down here and get the beholders as well, because it's about to roll over to next week, and this will give us even more free units to play around with. Send them in. I mean, I don't think that this fight is really going to be anything that we've got to clutch our pearls about. I'm pretty sure we win this outright very, very quickly. Once you start getting into more advanced combats, the other side will also be able to cast spells at you. So you should get used to the fact that things are going to be spawning behind your lines and fireballs are going to be raining down on your army. Once you start going up against actual armies, instead of just like beating up on world mobs. The Archmage Tribunal, the Shrine of Physique, the Ring of Bravery. I'll probably just get the rock perch for right now so that I can get the birds, although we're not going to be able to buy them on this week, which is a little bit of a bummer because we could have had two, but let's not cry over spilt milk. Everything's going to be okay. We are tapped out as far as our finances go. I need money. Yeah, that'll do. That was a good amount of money right there. You can see this little wagon right here. This wagon can swap in with our hero if we go over there, and then we can just pick it up. If you're not nearby, the little wagons, they'll leave from these spots. You can see them right there, and at the end of the turn, they move on their own, and they go back to the capital, and you can come pick up the units at your leisure, should you desire to do so. There's a weapon right there, and I was just saying that we need a weapon, so let's go liberate the weapon real fast. Ooh, there's like a upgraded guy, too, the Blood Chieftain. Is he like a, is he the upgraded troll or whatever? Dope, dude. Let's go ahead and get Midas Touch 3, so we're turning even more people into gold. I'll probably take the Mercury right there. And then we have artifacts in every single slot, and that's boosted our attack up to 22, which makes our character a very, very scary guy. But this is Heroes Hour. This is a hugely replayable Might and Magic style game that I highly recommend. It's got a lot of content. I have had one or two bugs that have ruined campaigns while playing it, mostly on sea maps with naval combats and whatnot. It seems to confuse the AI a little bit, and then you get like a Unity crash or something like that that says that they can't pathfind or references something along those lines. The game has a lot of skill trees, and it has a lot of characters and a lot of armies, so balance is kind of out the window. Some things are just flatly better than others, but you'll figure them out as you go along. Still, a few more balance passes probably wouldn't hurt the game. It's never fun to get a couple hours in and find out you're one of the armies or one of the heroes that's kind of like shrug with their skill tree. But by and large, despite those things, I still think this game is really rad, and you could do a whole lot worse on Steam. If you're looking for a Might and Magic style game, for sure, this one, it'll eat up a ton of time with all of its various options. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. That's all I got, and it's time for me to take off. Bye, folks.